everyone. Today I'm returning to The Doors. Well, I've listened to a couple of their pieces. I guess I listened to the end and when the music's over. And maybe if you want to listen to those, Vlad can put the links right here. So, if you watched either of those, you know that I really enjoy Jim Morrison's voice and the overall musical approach. So this is another one called Break On Through to the Other Side. Let's see what I have to read about it. Break On Through to the Other Side is the opening track of their debut album titled The Doors, 1967. So basically, the first time the world heard The Doors, when they put the disc on the turntable, this is what they heard. Well, so I'm kind of going back to the very beginning of The Doors, and it's going to be interesting to see what is it that they heard first. 24 years after its original release, Break On Through became a minor hit in the UK after it was released as a single from the soundtrack album The Doors, peaking at number 64 in the UK singles chart. Breaking On Through has also been widely considered one of the band's greatest songs. In 2021, The Guardian ranked the song number 2 on their list of the 30 greatest Doors songs, and Louder Sound ranked it number 5 on their list of the 20 greatest Doors songs. In 2012, the song was selected to be played on Mars during a NASA mission. Ooh, that's cool. So Mars has heard The Doors. Has Mars heard anything else? I don't know. At least they've heard The Doors. It's time for me to hear it.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side, yeah. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there. But can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
You know what catches me about this is that compared to the other two that I've listened to, this one has a lot more drive to it. With the first two I listened to, it was more, I could even say reflective, meditative, kind of a, I don't know if I'd quite say stream of consciousness, but the idea of, okay, you sing a line, you relish every bit of it, and then you wait, and then you flow through some more. This has a bit more rhythm and energy, both in the instrumental part and in the vocal part. He's singing with a good bit of zest.
She get high, girl. I found an island in your arms, country in your eyes. Arms are chainless, eyes are lined. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through, oh yeah. Wait to see, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, day to
that's what the world heard the first time they listened to the Doors and Jim Morrison's voice and the sound of the Doors when they put the disc on for the first time. It does sound great, doesn't it? The other thing I noticed is that it's quite a bit shorter than the other two. So it seems like later he got a little bit more expansive with his musical ideas. But it's a great piece even though it's short. Let's go back through and explore it a bit more deeply. Bass right away.
You know the day destroys the night.
They set it up so nicely. Dee 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 dee, and it has this bit of syncopation and drive to it from the very beginning. Well, okay, these drums at the beginning, they could go anywhere. They could go. In fact, I when I heard them, I thought, oh yeah, that sounds like the other two pieces I've listened to. It's something is very familiar about that percussion sound at the beginning, and it kind of set me up to hear something a bit more expansive in length and style. So when the bass came in and then the guitar with this rhythm that really tightens things up and focuses us, it was a bit of a surprise, but it sounds good. I like this deep bass here.
You know the day destroys the night.
And then his voice comes in. You know the day destroys the night. What should I say? I mean, Jim Morrison starts it out with one of his reflections. You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. What is this? What sort of deep philosophical thought are we getting into here?
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
But instead of getting all philosophical, he kind of turns straight towards this idea of break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. And you're left wondering, what does that mean? What is this about? The other side of what? The day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Tried to run, tried to hide. Break on through to the other side. And we start feeling like, okay, so whatever that means, we're just going to break on through to the other side. Wherever that is, whatever it is.
Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side, yeah.
And that line, break on through to the other side, yeah, that is what really made me suddenly interested in what he was doing in this particular song. The song has a lot more swing than the other two to my ears, and at the same time, as I said, a more driving rhythmic feel. It feels tighter. Funny to think of swing and tightness all in the same sentence, but it does. It carries us on. Break on through to the other side, yeah, and he carries us through it with a sort of drive, a sort of determination that we are breaking on through to the other side, yeah.
On through to the other side. Break on through to the other side, yeah.
And then the instruments pick it up.
We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there. But can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
And I have to say that this bass is really lively. Dee 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 dee. It's really staying active, and that also gives it sort of boiling up from underneath energy that it's hard to contain. We managed to keep it tamped down enough that we build a little bit of pressure in this space, but it's like it's just coming up from underground. Dee 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 dee.
Time we cried, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side.
Then the organ. Oh, I love that clash. Dee 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 dee. I don't know. I guess I've mentioned this once or twice on this channel. I teach a lot of beginners. Piano, harp, whatever. And one of the things that I have to do as I'm introducing them to music is to appreciate the quality of different musical sounds, combinations of notes, pitches, intervals. And I find that a lot of my students who come and don't have a broad listening experience, they struggle with these sorts of clashing sounds. And well, it is a sort of dissonant interval, and they don't love them. And one of the things as a musician that we have to get comfortable with is leaning in and really grabbing hold of those dissonances, because very often those are some of the most intense moments of the music. We can't shy away from them. We can't be timid about expressing them, playing them, they can't scare us. And I know that in a lot of modern music, these dissonant sounds have become much more common, but it still seems like it's something that we instinctively, unless your listening experience is quite broad, there's a hesitancy to really enjoy those moments. Well, I always have this little tune that I teach the kids, and in order to get them to kind of embrace the intensity of the experience, I describe it as being, it's like biting into a salty, spicy, sweet and sour chip. You feel the crunch, you feel the explosion of flavors in your mouth, and it's just a little tune that has these intervals a few times throughout. But suddenly, when they get this image of something that they enjoy, crunching chips, imagine being at the zoo, riding a carnival, and munching chips as you go. I mean, what kid doesn't love that? It's as if this is one of those moments of, let's enjoy this wonderful explosion of musical flavor and sensory experience when this organ comes and lands on those two notes side by side and just plays them several times over. And then he's like, okay, let's go a bit further. Now, of course, this particular piece is quite strongly linked to blues jazz styling, where those sevens and other close harmonies are not treated in the same way as in earlier classical music. And so it's not even treated as a dissonance per se, but still, it's the enjoying of this wonderful explosion of flavors that comes out here. And for some reason, we start with this warm, mellow voice. It's kind of warm. We've got the energy. But when the organ comes in with that, it's as if it's throwing some cayenne pepper, some spice and lime juice on the whole thing to really brighten it up. and we have these occasional thumps. It's almost like something diving underwater. Boom, 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 and probably that's a drum something or other happening, and I don't know exactly what's happening, but it also adds its own flavor to the mix, which, if I were just listening to the rest of the percussion, it's nice, but to throw those in really kind of takes it to the next level.
I found an island in your arms, country in your eyes. Arms are chainless, eyes are lined. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through, oh, oh yeah. Made the sea.
And I feel by now that we could even have a saxophone joining in, and it would be perfectly appropriate. It would really fit the whole mix, wouldn't it? Maybe even a chorus answering, doing a bit of call and response.
Hour to hour, day straight, deep and wide. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through, break on through, break on through. Bring on through.
And suddenly it stops. Kind of, it almost feels premature, except perhaps after all of this, we suddenly broke through to the other side. Unexpectedly. Ah, we made it. And so, I feel like this was probably a good way to introduce their sound to the world, because it is very clearly rooted in some well-established musical traditions, and yet they have this fresh take on it, this very clear choice of their sound fingerprints and even their style. This isn't one of those long meditative pieces like When the Music's Over and we're left wondering, what is all of this about? But still we feel this sort of, starting with, the day destroys the night, night divides the day, and you think, oh, what is all this? And break on through to the other side is the main refrain. I found an island in your arms, a country in your eyes, arms that chain us, eyes that lie. All these different kind of disparate ideas tossed in. By the time I get to the end of the song, and I'm trying to think, okay, so what really is the song communicating? What is this song about, really? Break on through to the other side. Okay, it's kind of cool that it ended up being taken to Mars, and that's an expression of perhaps breaking through to the other side. But I feel like it has a much more human element too. The truth is, to me, it comes across as having a lot of sexual references to it within it, and so it can be used in so many different contexts. But it is the sort of piece that just gets you up and gets you involved, and you start singing, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side. Every time that chorus comes, break on through to the other side, you feel like just joining in and participating in the music-making fun. So that's another listen to one of the Doors pieces, and I enjoyed it just as I have enjoyed the others. It seems that the Doors always get me kind of thinking about what really are they trying to say? What really is this about? And sometimes you feel like, okay, it's going so many different directions, it's so complex. But there might be a very simple summary, or it might be one that appears simple and has a lot to say. But they always seem to get me double checking my first impressions and reassessing my understanding of the piece every step of the way through the song. And I like that. I like music that isn't just instantly self-explanatory. I like the idea of keeping me engaged in a sort of, I wouldn't call it a guessing game, but taking twists and turns that make me think, oh, we're going here? Oh, that was a bit of a surprise. And yet, there's always something. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. That is the theme. Whatever it is, break on through to the other side. A lot of fun. Let's see what comes next, and I'll see you soon.